Well, if this guy wants to fight with weapons, I've got it covered from A to Z. From axe to the other axe.
What's up everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood French Canadian, and I finally beat COVID, sort of. I'm still a bit sick, but I feel a bit better and I definitely sound better. So today I'll show you a Vampire Slayer build, which of course I had to do this not only because of my name, but because I think it's just a really cool concept for a role-playing build in this game specifically. And all the footage you're gonna see of me fighting bosses is gonna be on New Game Plus. And none of them really stood a chance. So basically this build revolves around using a crossbow and the Blade of Calling dagger, which has a really great Holy Ash of War. And this Ash of War will be the most damage you get out of this build. It is a boss destroyer, heck, it even deletes them out of the game once you're finished with them. Now I'll show you where to get everything you need later, but for now I just wanted to show you guys what this build can really do. As for the incantations we'll be using the Discus of Light, which is really freaking good. It kind of acts like a boomerang, so basically you can send it out as many times as you want, and it'll just come back to you, so then you can have like 3 or 4 of them coming back at the enemies, and it can do a lot of damage. Not as much as the Blade of Calling Ash of War, but it still does a ton of damage. It's good for bosses, it's good for enemies, it's good for mobs, basically good for anything. And it kind of acts as our AoE for this build. Now we also want to use a buff, which is Golden Vow. It's going to give us more defense and a more attack power. So basically you're going to switch between either using the crossbow if you want to apply certain status effects like bleed or frost or sleep or anything you want to use as for bolts, and then switch to your Blade of Calling to do the big damage. In most of these boss fights, honestly, I was just using the Blade of Calling as well as the Discus of Light to do all the damage. I should have gotten footage of me using like bleed bolts just to show you how much damage you can do with bleed proc on this crossbow, but I'm pretty sure you know by now how all of that stuff works. And I decided to add a dagger because it does give off that vampire hunter feel, since we can't really get like a stake or whatever in this game. Let's just pretend that a blade with a sacred damage is enough to kill creatures of the night. And I also knew we'd need something else because crossbows and bows aren't exactly great in this game, so you really want to use it, as I said, to apply status effects, or if you want to fight ranged and you don't want to get hit. But again, you can just use a Blade of Calling's Ash of War to get that big damage in anyways. And the incantations is really one for the buff to give you an option against mobs of enemies as well, because I think it's really important to have builds that are versatile and can really do anything that you need it to do, essentially. So I really hope you'll enjoy trying it out. Now for the attribute points, this is what I have for my character that is level 171. I have 40 vigor, 33 mind, because some of the healing spells, incantations in Faith, they cost a lot of FP, like a lot of it. So if you don't intend on using them as much, you probably don't need 33 mind, but as the Blade of Calling Ash of War uses FP, I think having at least 30 is pretty good. Now I have 25 endurance, 16 strength to be able to use that specific crossbow, 45 dexterity, 17 intelligence because one of the heals requires intelligence, and I wanted to use the bigger fate spells like the 3 Discus of Light, but you need like 40 intelligence or whatever, and our points would be way too spread out, so that's why we're using the single version of the Discus of Light. And of course we have 65 faith. Now I think you probably want to have 70 here to be a bit more optimal, but you can take some points away from vigor maybe. And you don't need as much points in dexterity unless you're planning to use that dagger up close all the time, because crossbows and bows are really weird, so even if you have high dexterity, you're not going to do more damage with them because the damage comes from the bolt themselves. So you really don't need that much dexterity. But again, dexterity helps reduce your casting time, so I was like, it's really not a waste of time to put points into dexterity for this build anyways. Now that you know how this build works, what it can do, I'll show you where to get everything that you need to make this build. So to find the Pulley crossbow, we'll be going to the Craftsman's Shack, which is located in the Mount Gilmere area. So it's right here. And if you don't know how to get there, you have to go by the Windham Ruins and then the Seedwater River. So So basically you're going underneath here only to come up and over here. And the bow will be on his body right here. For the Blade of Calling, you'll have to come to the Forbidden Lands. This is the side of grade I use, Forbidden Lands. And then you want to go back to where the lift is. So in the lift chamber, just look up and you'll see the secret door. It's right here. So I'm facing this way. All you're gonna need to do is just drop down onto it. But wait a bit, because if you drop too early, then you won't make it. And that's where it'll be. The Erdtree still is located in Volcano Manor. You want to take the Prison Town Church side of Grace. It's the easiest way to go there. I'll show you how you can speedrun your way there without having to fight many enemies. I guess you can take out this guy first, but... Oops. You want to stick to the right here. And you just want to drop down here. Go into this little cell area, and that is where the seal will be on his body right here. So the main bolts we'll be using are golden bolts, which do holy damage. So there is a vendor that sells a limited amount of them, and he's right here. The Hermit Merchant's Shack in the Altus Plateau. Now you can use any type of bolt, it really doesn't matter because they don't scale depending on your stats. They just do their base damage. So their physical damage plus the elemental damage they do as well as the critical. So it really doesn't matter, but I feel like for this build golden bolts and halic bone bolts work really well. But something like a bird bolt will help a lot because it causes blood buildup and you'll get the bleed proc. So on bigger enemies and bosses, this will be extremely good. And the halic bone, unfortunately, you can only craft them. No one sells them, at least that I have found. But they're super easy to craft. I think it's like a sunflower, the only thing you need. Yeah, so golden sunflowers and thin beast bones. You also want to make some holy water pots as they're really good. They do a ton of freaking holy damage. So they're really good on creatures like the death birds and any of the undead enemies you'll face. As well as the draconic tree sentinels. To get the Golden Vow incantation, you want to go back to the manor area, and it'll be in the Corpse Stench Shack. So you want to take the Bridge of Iniquity to get there. You just follow this road, it's pretty straightforward. You will get invaded once you get there, and once you defeat the invader, you'll be able to loot the Golden Vow off a body in the shack. Or the Discus of Light incantation, which is really good. It comes back to use like a boomerang, and it's also an AoE in a way because it can hit multiple enemies. Basically you can buy this from Brother Corin, but only after he moves to the Gold Mask location. So what you want to do is go to the Forest Spanning Great Bridge side of Grace. There will be a teleporter here and you want to take that. You'll be teleported on the other side of the bridge, as you can see right here. And we were just here. So you'll be here with Gold Mask in this location. You can talk to him and buy the incantation from him. The Sacred Scorpion Charm is really easy to get, especially early game. You want to go in Caelid, and it's the first church you come across in Caelid if you're in Limgrave. It's the Smoldering Church. So basically once you get there, you'll be invaded by an enemy. You want to take care of them, and then you'll find the Sacred Scorpion Charm here. For the Phlox Canvas Talisman, unfortunately you can only get this at the very end of Millicent's questline, which starts in Caelid, and then you have to go to the secret Halic Tree area, and you have to do all her quests up to the very end. Then you can go back to see Gowry in Gowry's Shack in Caelid, which is located right here. Once you talk to him again, you can exhaust his dialogue, you hit him, and basically he dies and you will drop you that talisman. For the Radagon icon, it is located in the Academy. I'm going to take the Debate Parlor side of Grace. You're going to make your way out here, and then you're going to take a right away. And we're going to jump over this railing right here. Then you want to take this ladder up, and then we'll come up to Broken Windows. As we go through it, we get on this like balcony type thing that is inside of the church. And the talisman will be in this box, or chest right here, sorry. For the last talisman, the Arrows Sting talisman, you want to come to Caelid, to the Impassable Great Bridge, Site of Grace. And all you want to do is make your way up this tower, and you'll be able to loot it in a chest. But just be careful because there's like 5 or 6 enemies up there. So that's it for this build, everyone. You should have everything you need by now. I really hope you enjoy this. If you want more Elden Ring videos, there are plenty more on my channel. And if you're looking for an Elden Ring Discord where you can find people to PvP with or just help you with the game, then the invite to my Discord is in the description box below. So have yourself a wonderful day, everyone, and I'll see you all very soon. Hopefully a little less sick than this.